Tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast, go. DUBS 21 is in full swing, and the developers are mostly very excited. Should we be? Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mac to the Future livecast here on Facebook and the YouTubes. You can watch it from either source, and one of these days I'll figure out how to do it directly to the website for Shark, but the couple times I've tried it just hasn't worked that well. Go figure. Dave is not with us tonight. He is very, very busy with doing some Chicago Mac user group stuff, and hopefully he will be back next week. However, thank the very Lord up high that I am not alone. I am joined by Mr. Warren Sklar. Hello there, Mr. Warren Sklar. Actually, I meant to do this. Just like that right there. How are you doing?
I'm so far away.
So far away.
I'm trying. As you know, from the last time I spoke, I took over my son's desk. I redid everything. I'm going to take pictures. It looks great. I got the two monitors. I got both my home pods, the black one behind the black monitor and the white one behind this white monitor. It's crazy. I got my keyboard. I got everything going. Have a couple of issues that I got to work through, but we're getting there. It's getting there. I'm excited.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the elephant in the room, which is WWDC for 2021, which of course was all virtual. I'm pretty sure you watched the keynote.
I did. Yeah.
And
I locked the door in at work, and I actually quick story is I was about to, I was getting ready to watch it, I was excited it all day, and then my boss technically texted me, said me and somebody else is kind of come see you, just to hang out. So I'm like, that's not good. So luckily the guys,
you were like in another state.
No, they came, and I said, I'm pretty friendly with them, so I'm like, do you mind if I watch the keynote? While I did it. And I'm watching it a little bit, and then the other guy's like, well, he's a big Apple fan. He worked for Apple. It's like, let's put it in a big TV. So all three of us watched it together, which was nice.
Played it?
No, it had a YouTube app on the TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I watched it from. Damn it! These things just will not stay in my ear. I'm actually looking to get something to kind of hook into them so that they'll go around my ear, because they don't stay in for me. I guess I have one of those weird ear canals. So there was a bunch of stuff that was announced, and we're not going to go into everything because we're just not going to. And a lot of it, see, there it goes right there. A lot of it is just not going to be all that interesting to people who aren't developers. But I think we've got a pretty good mix of stuff that people will be interested in. And let's start right off with iPad OS 15 and the brand new ways, along with the old ways, to run multiple apps at the same time. One is, of course, with App Shelf, which I thought looked kind of cool. The problem for me with multitasking is there was basically just one way to do it. You'd hold down at the bottom of the screen when you had an app running, and you'd bring up your dock, and then you'd hit one of your dock buttons to bring up another app. And that was it. That was pretty much the only one. Damn it. That was pretty much the only way you could do it. And so now they have.
Remember watching the movie The Jerk? You ever see the movie The Jerk? The Jerk.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
You're doing the same thing, but what the guy did with his glasses. Damn it, these things keep falling off my head. You're like,
Damn
damn it,
these ear pods.
these keep falling off my
Damn
ears.
you.
We're gonna have to get what do you use, like a little bit of tape in between the lens
No,
and
he put like a bar that went
a
across
bar
the
on it.
bridge of the
Yeah.
nose right in the
Yeah.
middle, and it drew
Yeah.
everyone's attention
And made
inward.
everybody cross-eyed.
Yeah, and Carl Reiner in just I know this has nothing to do with anything. A great cameo in that movie. He's like, and it caused me to do this, and you see this car goes flying off a cliff. Cut after the car's already off the cliff, and it's presumably the guy dies when it blows up into a million pieces down in the bottom.
I gotta watch that again. It's been too long.
Damn these earplugs.
Damn these inferior things. I think
it's so annoying.
Yeah, mine stay in my ear, strangely enough. Yeah.
Mine just do not.
Yeah, no, I can't even they just stay. I don't even have to. Yeah, I could do this. I could dance.
Well, I
well,
had better not get real active while I'm wearing these.
Did you real fast go to Amazon and look for ear cushions for AirPods Pro? You'll see a whole bunch of ones with reviews, different materials, different sizes. Do it.
Yeah, well, there was one I was looking at where it's got like a little. It hooks onto like the stem and then goes around the ear. So that'll work for me. It makes it kind of a pain in the neck when you take them out and want to recharge them, but I can't deal with this. I can't use these like this. And it's only been like the last revision of the Mac OS that I've been able to use them at all, because as soon as I got the M1 Mac Mini, all my Bluetooth stuff just went to complete hell. And
even the AirPods.
Oh yeah. Now, of everything I had that was Bluetooth, the only thing that worked consistently was the Magic Trackpad. But all the Bluetooth earpods, it didn't matter if they were from Apple or I have these right here also from Earfun. Oh, that's making me nuts.
Why don't you get yourself some nice over the ear headphones?
Well, I got some really good ones right here. I got some
Sony. Why don't we put them on now so we could not have those things pop out of your ears every 2 seconds?
Is it really? Is it annoying for everyone else too?
It's a little distracting when we're trying to get through. Getting through one sentence is a challenge every time your ears fall out of your head.
Yeah. Anyways, well, I guess the only other solution is to just have them permanently attached.
Don't you think Apple is not thinking about that?
They're working on that.
They're working on that along with the AR glasses are going to be crazy glued.
Right there.
Yeah,
that'll work.
All right,
cut.
Apple.
All right, so there's also the app switcher. There's also a shelf. Like basically, when you're in like split screen mode on the iPad, there'll be like on each application that you have open, there'll be like a little ellipse at the very, very top. And when you hit that, you can switch between full screen, split screen, and what was the other one where I guess it just kind of drops down.
It pushes it to the side, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it pushes that
but
up.
You can still see it, so you can still
see like a little bit of it on the side. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But the really kind of cool one is I think the app switcher, where it brings up when you invoke it, and you can also invoke it apparently from a keyboard shortcut. It brings up the little boxes of applications, kind of like what you see now with the iPhone OS, and you can select an application from any one of those. And the other thing you can do is you when you select the application, you just kind of pull the one into the other one, and then they're side by side. You can switch them around in this view, and when you're done, it goes to full screen. But it's just kind of you can go to that view several times and just pick different applications and put them on whichever side of the screen you want them to be on. It's still not as intuitive as working with the Mac or Windows, but I think it's better than it was before.
Have you played with it?
No, because I got bit on my Mac.
Okay, so talk to me. So I haven't. I put it on my Pro, and
Okay,
I
well,
played
tell me,
with it.
have you tried all the different modes yet?
I didn't know about the last one you talked about with the app library
Switcher?
coming down. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah, that I've done everything else. So basically, what happens is it opens up an app, and I've seen a few it not work on, but it opens up an app, and there's like a little bar with three dots on the very top,
yeah, like an
and
ellipse.
it's yeah, I get well, it's three dots on the top with a in a line. So you just click on that, and then you'll have like three icons, and I still haven't figured out what each one really is, but one it has a little picture on it. One basically splits the apps in half, one to the left, one to the right. The other one lets you pick an app, and I guess the third one is the one we were just saying, where it kind of pushes it to the right, but you
Right.
still see a little piece of it. So that's it. I mean, I've had two apps open at the same time, and it's no different than it was before, except now it's just easier to do what it was doing before.
To invoke.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's still
because
not.
you were kind of limited to the applications that were in your dock.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not. It's still confusing. I think it's still not terribly intuitive, but I mean, it's better than it was before.
Yeah, and it's weird that that's the standard for a lot of
Mhm.
this stuff. It's like, well, it's not great, but it's better than it was before. So, that just seems like it's kind of a weird hill for Apple to stake its flag on. This next thing I thought was very, very cool, and it's kind of a VPN, sort of. In an effort to make privacy even more front and center, Apple is instituting something that they're calling iCloud Private Relay. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard people talking about it and trying to figure out exactly what it is too, and I don't
Okay,
think
well,
everybody.
let me see if I can break this down. I've looked at some of this same stuff, and I think I've got a pretty easy way to express it. Basically, what it does is it takes websites gathering of information on you away from them and puts them on proxy servers run by Apple and another trusted third party. Now,
Who's that? I
what
don't know.
well, they haven't said, but what makes this
Mm.
kind of difference is there's an ingress proxy server that's run by Apple and an egress proxy server run by this third party. And in essence, Apple will know who you are. There it goes again, but not where you're going on the internet. And the other party will know where you're going, but not who you are. And naturally, you'll need to be on Safari for this to work. Some of the exceptions are local network traffic, private domains, and servers, VPNs, and secure HTTPS traffic. But this will, and you can't, this won't, if you're on Chrome or Firefox or almost any other browser, this isn't going to work. But if you're using the Safari browser, this is probably the most advanced way, apart from using a VPN, which is kind of a 3-check system, as compared to this, which is kind of a 2-check system. The difference is this is free while most VPNs are not. So this is kind of a gift from Apple to help protect your privacy.
I,
Have
I
you,
don't.
do you know,
I don't.
have anything
I
else
don't
to
think
say
it.
about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's really a VPN though. A
It's
VPN.
VPN-ish.
eh,
Eh,
no, VPN it stands for virtual private network, and basically that's what a
yes.
VPN is giving you. You're getting a virtual different IP address,
Mhm.
virtual private IP address network. So this is not that at all.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
doesn't
giving
the
you
VPN, when you use a VPN, the VPN knows who you are and where you're going, right?
the VPN provider.
The VPN does. VPN provider does.
Yeah, but that's. I mean they advertise that they randomize everything, and they don't really know. If
Yeah.
the good ones, obviously do that.
Well,
So
you would hope.
well, I mean, that yeah, I don't know exactly how they do it, but I'm pretty sure they don't know. They try to protect you from that, because
Right.
otherwise there would have been data leaks on that, and that would have been a mess. But anyway, but that's what it's doing. This is it's not hiding your IP address. It's just sending it to two encryption servers, I guess. But like, let's put it this way: if you're in Safari and then you download a torrent,
Mm-hmm.
the torrent is now communicating. Might be seen by Comcast or FiOS. If I'm downloading, they'll see that happening too.
Yes.
No, but this I don't know if that's true because in Safari
Well,
they might not.
I mean, it's almost impossible to keep your ISP from knowing what site you're going to.
No, that's
because
the point of the VPN. That's exactly the point of the VPN. So they don't know where to
right,
go.
but you're still using your ISP's pipes.
Using their pipes,
So-
but they can't identify. All they see coming to the traffic right from your computer is sending out through the VPN
it's
a different
what,
IP
hashed
address.
and encrypted.
It's not. There's no. It has nothing to do with encryption. A VPN, all it's doing is making Comcast and everybody else see that you're not coming from the IP address you're coming from. You're coming from whatever the VPN assigns you to, and you
Is
can
saying that it's coming from.
right, and that's where you could pick a country, and that's the origin of the IP address that it's coming from, which also gives you access to things like British TV, the Sky app, maybe things like that, Sky Access,
Right,
whatever
that you can't normally go to because you're not a resident.
right.
Of
So
those
people
countries.
use it for two reasons. One, so people can't spy on them or hack them or whatever, and the other reason is to access content that they can't normally access. So that's the whole point. So Comcast and Xfinity and FiOS don't know that you're torrenting something. Apple's VPN does not do anything like that. All it's doing is, I mean, yeah,
But it's
It's not-
basically preventing the websites that you're going to from tracking you, from what site you're going to when you're, because I mean, what a lot of these things do is it says, oh, okay, here you are, here's the site, here's your content that you were just asking for, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna go to this other site now. Well,
it's doing more than that though. What it's doing is protecting the data from snooping the Wi-Fi network with the encryption. That's the point of
Yeah.
it. So if you're at a Starbucks on Apple saying if you use this and you go to a public network, we got you. That's basically what they're saying.
got your back, Jack.
We got your back. Don't worry about those bank details.
Don't panic.
Baby.
Don't panic.
Don't you put your social security number in? It's all good.
Okay,
All right.
next
That
up,
was a lot on VPN. Yes.
iOS 15's live text, which
Mm.
looks pretty amazing. It can grab
is.
text from nearly any image, and some of the demonstrations that they did during the keynote just kind of blew my mind. To be able to just and there goes the second one. Can you believe this? Unbelievable. Very distracting. To be able to just pull and this isn't
Did you
all
use
that
it? Did you use it? Yet?
dissimilar. Use what?
Did you put it on? So you haven't used it?
What, super glue?
No, the live text.
No, I don't have any of these betas.
Okay, so I'll tell you about it. Live text, blah blah blah. It does all that. We don't have time. So I used it twice today. One just to test it out, and then one to use for a real thing. Somebody had a phone, and they got a long error message when they tried to do something. I do tech support, right?
Mhm.
Took my iPhone, which has the beta on it, took a picture of it, looked at the picture, all that error code, the error text on there that was like huge. Started from the top, just dragged my finger down to the bottom, hit copy, pasted it to tech support. It was awesome. It was that. This is a game changer. Of like when the Apple Watch started, unlocking your phone. But this is amazing. Seriously. And it works pretty well. I mean, we tried script and it doesn't work so well there, but it works. So do you understand how it works?
It's using
like how to use it. I mean,
how
not,
well, yeah. I mean, it's in essence, you have a still image,
Right.
and it's breaking down that image to its base components and using some smart technology. Boy, oh, it uses some smart technology to parse between the different letters in the image,
Oh,
so that
it's doing OCR,
yeah,
basically. Yeah, so that's what
yeah,
it's doing. But yeah. So I mean, the process to use it is so easy because I've used third party ones like
hmm
that try to do the same thing, and it takes a while, and you got to pay for it. And basically, they don't do it on a picture. It's like a scanner. It tries to read it and then OCR it, but they're flaky. This is totally different. Any picture, like even existing pictures that you have, after you
yeah.
upgrade, you could go back and like copy any kind of text from pretty much any picture, and it just so far it works better than the other ones that I've tried to use.
One of the things that I could see this being really useful for is PDFs, where you have, because working with PDFs, and yeah, you can use preview and get a lot of the functionality of like Adobe Acrobat Pro, but it's not all there, and it does take time. But something like this could allow you to take the entirety of a PDF form, and put it into a text document so that you can edit it and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. I think
I
this
think
this had
preview does all that. I mean,
sort of.
if you open up a PDF, and I think preview you could just kind of drag over the text and copy it, and it will get it. So I don't know if they
Yeah, but
made it.
this is going to be even better than that.
So you're saying you take a picture of the PDF.
No, it'll take, because a PDF is not that far from being just an image itself. It's one of the things that keeps it protected. It's why it's trusted, because you
Yeah,
can't make
but then
whole
but then
scale changes to it.
you need it in your photo library to use this feature. So you have to take a picture of the
Oh, so you'd have
PDF.
to take okay, so you'd have to take a scan of the PDF and then work from it there.
Yeah, I think there's
Okay,
probably
I
better.
thought
I
this
think
I
there's
thought this was like isn't this a separate application that does this?
no, no. That's what I'm trying to
So
say.
it
It's
works
not
it works within Photos, or
photos and your photo library, or the photo you're taking. No, I take that back. It's in your if it's in your photo library, you can do it. It has to be a picture,
okay. Um
but it
but it
works.
is, yeah,
Fun. It's fun.
and it's only going to get better as we get closer to actual release.
It's amazing.
Uh some stuff here for tvOS. It will start using Face ID or Touch ID as long as developers of tvOS apps are on board. But the really cool thing was SharePlay, which let others remotely watch the same content as you. Um, and they kind of made a big deal of this as they were announcing it. And I'm kind of wondering how content providers feel about this, where you're on Hulu or something along those lines, and you're like, oh well, there's this great NFL game that I'm watching, and you've got, say, someone that lives in the same city as that NFL team, who, because the game wasn't sold out, can't watch it on TV, but you're on Hulu watching it from wherever it is that you are. And are you going to be able to share play that over to them so that they can watch it from their home as well? And this has the potential to have some copyright issues. So I'm wondering if this might be one of the things that when the full version of the next version of TVS comes out, there's well, that's coming. It's the one of the things that we're still working on, making it better, making it great, and as soon as it's available, we're going to push it right out there. But I could see a lot of issues with this as far as copyright goes.
I never really understood the concept or attraction of this shared viewing kind of or shared listing kind of thing, but and I don't even see the kids really. I mean, is this really
Oh,
like a hot feature?
My son Peter does this. I mean, think about all the people that have gotten together to watch this keynote in various areas. I mean, you had Mike Potter in Chicago for Mac Eyes Only that had 2 or 3 people from different parts of the country all watching the same keynote at the same time and commenting on it all together. Well, this is kind of that same concept where you can, and it's not just, it's not just Apple events, but whatever it is you're watching on your TV, the next Godzilla movie, my son Peter would go crazy with having something like that, where he can't get all of his friends in to watch this Godzilla movie, but he could easily just say, call them up and say, okay, here's a URL for you to go to, and you can watch this right along with me. And
That's just not. It's. I hear what you're saying, but
yeah,
that's not even like close to having somebody come over and watch a movie or TV with you. I mean,
no, it's not, but it's the next best thing.
No, I think it makes it like worse and completely annoying. I mean, if I'm going to watch a movie, I'm not going to want to watch a screen with text and all that stuff going.
It depends. I think it depends on your level of engagement with whatever the content is.
Well, you
like
say
I
that.
said, my son Peter has lots of friends that like Godzilla movies, and I could totally see them sitting down and they play a lot of those you don't know Jack games, where you can have people remotely from almost anywhere joining these games. You don't have to have everybody in the same room to play these games, and this isn't as dissimilar an experience from that. But
something you said that is not true. You said it depends on what you're focusing on, and what I've noticed with some of you guys doing the keynote shows that you pay less attention to the keynote when you're doing this. Which is natural because you can't fully concentrate.
Well, yeah, because you're engaging with other people. Yeah.
So I've noticed
that would be the same as whether they were in the same room or not.
I disagree. I think that's totally different. I think it takes a lot more effort to sit and type what you want to type out to somebody. It takes your mind fully off it. Where if you're just sitting, it's whatever. But sitting in a room with somebody else is way different to communicate with each other. Because you could, a lot of things are, wow, things like that, happy emotions, sad emotions that you really just can't do that quickly on chat. And it's distracting.
But it's not only text though. It's also, isn't it also voice and video as well, where you can see the people that are also watching?
It's still more, whatever it is, it's definitely more distracting than
certainly.
It's easy to tell that people doing it, and I've done it too. You're more distracted on what you're watching because you're paying attention to what the other person's saying. At that point, rather that's a big thing. So like, if somebody's talking during watching the presentation, are you watching the presentation or are you listening to what they're saying? Because you're having a conversation, so you're missing parts of it.
Well, maybe, but it's just a way to have a shared experience with people that aren't necessarily right there with you. How useful it will be, I think, might be a generational thing. It's not likely something that I would use, but I could see my sons and their friends using this very easily, especially after the events of the last year. All right, let's move on to Watch OS, something called mindfulness, which is there to enhance the Breathe app, kind of the Breathe app on steroids with more animations. And Fitness Plus is also expanding to include Tai Chi and Pilates. And something I've kind of noticed with this keynote is they took 2 hours to get all the way through this keynote. And I know that from watching it myself, there were times when I just wasn't all that interested. Huh?
You look like if you're about to cry.
No,
you're like, I watched this keynote.
Well,
I was just
it's
going to
like
handle it anymore.
why are they spending
I'm so
that
upset.
much time on this or that? And and I get that it's not a keynote for the average person. It's most, of course, it's geared toward developers. It's a worldwide developers conference. But that being said, why put it out for everyone to watch unless you're going to include stuff to draw them in as well? And enhancements to the Breathe app and including Tai Chi and Pilates in the Watch OS, um, even using Face ID or Touch ID for applications in tvOS doesn't really do much for me. And the proof is in the pudding. So put it out, let us see it, and then people, the average person, will get more excited about it. But from just kind of watching the keynote as they were going through the motions and all these things, it was kind of like, why are they talking about that here? But again, this wasn't a keynote that should have been directed toward people like me. Yeah, I did get emotional. I did.
It really looked like you were about to. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any different than it's always been. I think from day one, it was a way to get the public excited, and then to developers, when they start seeing the public excited about what they just announced, it should incentivize them to come up with some stuff for it.
Maybe.
I think that's the goal of it. The keynote, I found it kind of not, I wouldn't say boring, but I was
Long.
mildly here's what I kept saying. I said, we're upset that they didn't, come up with so much more features. Wasn't a lot of changes. The watch barely has a change. But then you got to ask yourself, what else could they do? What are we, what are they missing at this point? And
Well,
there comes a point where there's, you could have hit an end of what you could do with an operating system.
maybe. But a lot of people are kind of, because if you look at what Apple has done over the last 3 or 4 years, there's been some huge changes. You went from 32-bit to 64 to exclusively 64-bit. You have basically an entirely brand new processor and a brand new operating system to go along with that processor, while still allowing you to use applications that were, whoa, what the hell was that? That were available on, did you hit your,
I hit a string. Yes.
yeah, I thought so. It sounded like, oh, never mind. It doesn't matter what it sounded like. It was loud.
I'm not
So,
talking about the
well, I know,
capabilities
but
of the phone.
this may
I'm
be
talking about
a time for
what
Apple
feature.
to just kind of pull back in and say, okay, let's still give them some new stuff, but for the most part, let's concentrate on making what we already have work better.
I think that it's a lot easier for Apple to say we could, make this work better and improve the hardware. We could improve the things we've already thought up of. I mean, I'm not saying, it's they could, you could always improve with what you got. Coming up with something new is the hard part. So my thought is they, knowing how to make everything better, including the hardware, they could do. Who has an idea for not just Apple, any phone, any smartphone? What's the next big idea or next thing they could include with a smartphone? What major
Well, I've
feature?
already talked about some of that.
I mean,
where the smartphone is your computer, but
what would you want to?
Only Apple would be able to implement it correctly.
What would you want to do with your phone that you can't do? I guess is what I'm saying.
It depends on what you want to use that device for. Something we were talking about last night was currently people use their computers for one thing and then they use their iPhones and iPads for something else.
Right.
Why? when in theory you could do darn near everything, especially when one of the things that a lot of developers have been complaining about is that they couldn't develop apps on their iPads and iPhones. Well, in the future they'll be able to, because of some of the stuff that Apple talked about in WWDC this year. But moving away from developers, why couldn't someone have a more familiar desktop-like experience on their iPad, or a more touchscreen-like experience on their Mac, and that would be the only computing device that they need? And I think this is where Apple is very slowly taking their ideas and moving that's where they're moving the bar to.
I'm sure they're looking into it, but that's why I'm talking about here and now.
Well, here and now is it doesn't matter. These a lot of what we're seeing now are stopgaps to
right, and those stopgaps are what we just described the keynote as. Yeah, right, because that's a stopgap. What else can, like today, what can they actually put in the phone like today that we would be impressed at, like at the keynote? Like,
well, it's the same stuff they talk about every year. They put in better cameras, or they make this small process better or that small process better. But
you're talking about improvements. So we talked about
incremental.
What new
incremental
feature?
steps?
Yeah, what new features like could they?
Well,
announce
I'm not a Apple or Google engineer, so I mean I don't know what they have.
I'm not asking you. I'm not asking as an engineer. I'm asking you as a consumer, a human.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Right. What would you want to see? Like, what would wow you in to do with your phone?
I want to see the iPad become more like the Mac as far as its UI goes.
Right.
I truly want to see that, and I think that eventually Apple's going to get there.
Right, but that's so
eventually.
And then you got to ask yourself why. Why do you want the iPad to be more like the Mac?
So that all I need is my iPad, or all I need is my phone, or all I need is this device or that device. I don't have to worry about having a Mac computer and then a laptop computer and a tablet and a phone. Why not have something that would just do all of those things?
Size.
Everything is scalable.
No, everything's not. The size of the screen or the view of what you see things in is probably 50% or 60% of why you use a device. So
right. But what happens when you can just walk up to a bigger screen and magically make it connect, and you have the size that you want and everything scales up?
Oh, you still have to have the bigger screen. I mean, that's
sure.
I mean, all you're doing is replacing the head unit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
But it's still just one device. It's one device. That's all you need. And with what
company would ever want that?
Wireless.
What company would want that?
It's not a question of what company wants it. It's a question of what company will do it first and force all the other ones to play along.
Nobody.
This is the way technology has always been.
There's not one company out there that's going
to take any technology that you want to talk about right now. Take any technology that you want to talk about right now. Mm-hmm. At some point, somebody said there's a better way to do this, and we're going to show everyone how to do that.
That's not what you're saying.
Want to talk about? No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Hold on.
You had all computers at one point were all text-based. Everything that you wanted to do with that computer was text-based. Then along comes Elisa. Then along comes the Mac. And now all of a sudden everything is graphical because it was a better way to go. At one point, with automobiles, with airplanes, with farming, with any technology and any process that you want to talk about, there was the way that everybody did it until somebody came along and said, here's a better way.
I'm not sure
and
what
then,
you're.
And then
I'm
the entire industry changes.
Hold on. I'm not saying that. I'm not sure where you're going with that. All I'm saying is Apple would rather sell you multiple devices than one. They're not rushing.
Of course they would.
They're not
But
rushing. They're not rushing to make one unified device. You know, they rather you have an iPhone.
we don't know.
No,
We don't know what they're planning.
but what company would? What company would want to take one of their devices and make you not buy other things that they have? All
Because the
companies do that.
first company to do it and do it well and do it right is the company that will dictate what the future is going to be. And the company that dictates what the future is going to be is the company that's going to be left standing while a bunch of the other ones fall to the dust. You can either lead,
but this is
or
what's been happening,
follow, or get the hell out of the way. And that's how technology works. That's how everything works.
Yeah, but that's
you
what
lead, you follow.
you're right. It's been happening already, though.
Yeah.
Apple comes up with something that is done right, and then Samsung and everybody else does it too. So this has been happening. All I'm saying, again, the only point is companies, no matter who, will prefer you buy multiple devices than have one device that could do everything, because they're losing money on that.
Okay, well, think about this for a second. The original keynote for the iPhone, Steve Jobs comes out and he says, we're going to show you 3 devices today: a phone, an internet device, and what was the third one? Something that runs applications, something along those lines. And if Apple had come out on that day with 3 separate devices, there would have been plenty of people that bought each one of those devices. But that's not what they did. They came out with the iPhone, and the iPhone set what the future of mobile phone technology was going to be at that moment. And it's still continuing today. And yes, Apple isn't the market leader, but they sell more phones than any single company. They have a retention rate of nearly 90%. If you buy an iPhone, chances are you're going to buy another one and another one after that. And that's more important than having somebody go out and buy 2 devices, because you get customers and you get them for life, and they keep buying your devices.
Right. But these people, buy, their device, and then they like it so much. They were like, Grandma Helen says, I like this phone, but it's small. Let me get a bigger version of this. I don't have a monitor I want to plug it into. I just want this bigger. Okay. There's your iPad.
They still can do that. They can still do that
with the same device. With
the same device.
How?
With the same device.
How?
It scales. It scales.
Tell me how.
It scales wirelessly. It sees that it's basically taking the information that's on this screen, saying, "Oh,
I'm talking
want this to be on a bigger screen."
Yeah. No, I don't have bigger screens. I have this phone right now.
Right.
I want to see it bigger. I don't have anything else in my house. I want to see it bigger.
Well, then you can't.
Okay,
That's not the way the technology is going to work.
So tell me what I'm going to do. What am I going to do?
Then you would have to buy multiple devices.
So I got to buy a
monitor? People, if they are sitting in their home, they're going to have a TV set. If they're sitting in their office, they're going to have a computer screen. They're going to have larger devices to watch this on. If they're in my car, no.
I'm sitting in my bed. I want to.
You don't have a TV. You don't have a TV set in your bedroom.
Like a book.
Most people have a TV set in their bedroom.
No, I don't want my wife to see what I'm doing. I want to look at my stuff.
Well, you're picking individual use cases, and that's not what this conversation is about.
But that's
the conversation is about where is the technology going.
My point was
what is going to be the overall focus, because the original iPhone wasn't for everyone when it first came out. There were things about it that were just half baked, but it was the beginning of something new and something great, and it pushed everything else that was out there at the time, including industry leading companies, and it's left them in the dust. Where's BlackBerry today? Where is
I'm not
Microsoft
saying that Apple's not innovative.
As far as it's not a matter of it's not a matter of Apple being innovative. Whether or not they're innovative. I'm saying that,
we started the question we started with is the keynote and what could Apple do to make us,
and
you
I
know,
just, that's
and
what you asked me.
stop.
And I just told you,
And
I just told
your
you.
answer is to make one device to rule them all. That's what
Yes.
you're saying. So
And
now we're
it's not that
talking.
there won't
Stop,
be other devices.
but stop there. Then we started talking logistics. Okay, we started logistics where somebody has something the size of the iPhone, and
Mhm.
they want to have a version of this that's larger because they have bad vision or they just want a bigger screen. Okay, so
Then they buy something else.
like an
But
Android.
those are well, whatever. Those are extreme
Well, stop,
cases.
stop. You're saying Apple's old.
Apple makes
You're saying
devices for the general public. They make devices that is going to be good enough for 90 to 95% of the people out there. Are there going to be extreme cases on one side or the other where a device like what I'm talking about isn't going to work? Of course.
stop.
Nobody can make a device that's going to work for everybody.
Stop right there. They have a
You're
phone.
trying way too hard
No,
at this.
I don't understand what you're saying. You have a. You said they strive to make a device you like, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
They sold. Okay, so I'm this grandma that bought a phone. All right, I have the phone. I like the phone. I love the phone. All right. I want I want to read it in bed. I want a bigger version. Is there something like that? Well, we could sell
Sure.
you
Then you go and buy that.
by what?
Whatever. Whether it's by Apple or whether it's by another. I'm not saying that Apple is going to throw away every other device, that they're no longer going to make iMacs, or they're no longer going to make iPads, or they're no longer going to make this device or that device. I'm talking about technology that will lead Apple to the future. And there can be multiple devices that can do this. Just because, I mean, when you look at the first iPads, when they first came out, they were big iPhones. That's all they were. They were just big iPhones. And all of the applications that played on those devices were iPhone applications.
Yeah, I know.
Well, this works exactly the same. If you need a device with a bigger screen, fine. Here's a device with a bigger screen. But it will still connect wirelessly to all the other stuff that we were just talking about, and it will scale. All of these devices will be able to scale. So I'm not saying that Apple's just going to come out with a small phone-like device and that's going to be it, and they're going to wipe their hands of it, and that'll be the end of the day.
I think I know where you're going. So basically you want
it's a brand new OS.
Right. So okay. So we're talking about multiple hardware devices running the same OS. Is that what we're saying?
Of course.
So basically we're just talking shapes and sizes.
Yeah. But it scales.
But that's what Windows does, and nobody likes it.
It's not that nobody likes it. It's not implemented very well. And the other problem is, for the most part, Microsoft doesn't design their own hardware. They have some Surface tablets, but that's a very, very small percentage of overall sales of Windows computers. Apple controls the operating system. They control the hardware. They control the software.
So do you just want to do you want Mac OS that's touch capable? Is that what?
No, it's not. This isn't about the Mac OS. It's not about the iPad OS. It's not about the iPhone OS. It's not about TV OS. It's not about any of those OSs. You asked me what they could do that was new. And that's what I'm describing. A brand new operating system running on brand new hardware that can scale from a small device to a larger device, depending on what people want. So you're just still be able to connect wirelessly to monitors and printers and everything else, and give you a familiar desktop UI, and then scale that all the way down to a touch device that you hold in your hand. And it does it all on the fly. And the user decides which way it's going to go. So it would be like Mac OS that you could use your finger and scale stuff.
All right. Well, we're way off topic, and
Of course,
I think we both don't even understand what we're talking about at this point. So,
I know
um,
exactly what I'm talking about.
you're
I,
saying you want one operating system that could go on multiple size devices. That's what you're saying. That works the same
well,
across all size
they
devices.
they
Stop
already
me.
they already kind of do that.
They have that. So
Yeah,
what are you saying? I mean, Windows has that. Windows has big computers, and they have little tiny
sure.
computers that they call tablets. And then they tried the little tiny phone, but nobody liked that at all, so they got rid of it. But they did it. They didn't do it right, and I don't think people liked it. I don't think people liked the idea of you know
Because
they
it didn't scale.
it
You
it
have to
just
have
it wasn't
the OS has to scale, the applications have to scale, everything about the device has to be able to scale from a small device to a large device. And Windows doesn't do that. Actually, iPhone doesn't do that. The iPad doesn't do that. The Mac doesn't do that. None of these really do this all the way from big to little. And that's what we need. We need something that it's not only familiar to what we already have, but
the
will
cost. The future is
scale up or scale down.
the real future is the concept of the operating system going away and not needing an operating system. That's what the future is. It's Star Trek and the movie Horror, where you're talking to a virtual machine or you're communicating somehow in a virtual cloud, and
Maybe
you're not having the idea of having to pick something off a screen like that is going to be that's not where the future's going. So it's going to be they want do you
that is
if
so
you
far, because the problem is that's a whole nother topic, and I don't want
yeah,
to get into AI because AI, what we currently have is not AI.
I don't know.
It's
I don't think we'll ever have real AI.
well, I think we will at some point. But I don't want to get into that discussion because it frankly scares the crap out of me, because it could go so horribly wrong. Um,
All right, let's
I think, yeah, why don't we just call it a night? There's
yeah,
a couple other things. Universal control that allows you to jump between connected Apple devices like
which
other
doesn't
Macs and
doesn't
iPads.
work yet. I tried it, so it doesn't work
Okay.
yet. So
Shortcuts is taking center stage with automation, pushing out Automator, even though that's still going to be around for a while. And there's some changes in Safari with active tab bars that will include the more traditional URL bars that will also have search and a lot of the things that occupy like separate parts of your browser window all kind of rolled into one. And you'll also be able to AirPlay audio, documents, videos, and other things between devices, according to what Apple was saying. These first betas, they may or may not work that well. Why don't we call it a night, Warren? Why don't you tell people? Are you gonna be on Dave's show tomorrow night?
yeah, it should be. I'm gonna bring. I bought it. I'll talk about it tomorrow, but I had to buy a new microphone for the beach house, so I got something off
You had to
Amazon.
buy a new microphone for what?
For the beach house. So I'm doing the show. So Thursdays, my wife and I go to the beach. So I'm here at
Okay,
home. It's I'll be at a different place. So
is
I'll be
that why
testing.
you're taking the Focusrite with you?
I'm talking. Well, I'll talk about it too. Well, I'll talk offline about it. But I bought a thing like the Focusrite. So I have one like that and one for the other house. And then I just didn't want to have to lug the microphone back and forth. So I got one. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing. So yeah, are you? Who's going to be on? You coming on?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't hear much about any of it. So all right, well that's me.
Yeah. Okay. You can reach me. Guy at mymac.com is the email address. You can find me on Twitter. I am Mac Parrot and Vert Shark over on the Twitters. You can find all of my videos over on the Tubes of You under just using the search Vert Shark. What else? There's vertshark.com. You can help support all the crazy things I do, like trying to find something to keep these damn stupid AirPods in my ears. By going to patreon.com/MacParrot, coffee, fi.com/MacParrot, or pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. And of course, there's the mymac.com podcast that I do every weekend with Gaz and Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices on Tuesday night with a rotating cast of crazy people, myself included. Starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday nights. It's a great show. You should check it out if and where you can. That is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us for this very lively discussion what we had today. And we will see all of you right there. You're all over the place. Next week, right here on the Mac to the Future livecast. Say goodnight, Warren.
Good night, Warren.
I knew he was going to do that.